let's set the rules. So we are going to approach it as Canada is a company, and we want to see if we're going to invest in it, and my brain will work better if I can fine-tune to business. Lots of leeches that are in the government, local and provincial and states, whatever, and they're eating all the money.
A man had his car stolen. Modern day cars have the tracking the car. The car gets taken to a port, puts in a shipping container. He follows the car, and eventually he calls the police saying, my stolen car is in the shipping container. I know where it is. He can see it.
The guy that, I know what your story, that's insane.
He called the police. And
he told them, like, I know this, my car is here, this container.
And the police make an arrest. Do you know who they arrested?
Unfortunately, yes.
They arrested the person who made the call for trespassing in the port.
Yeah, he got arrested for trespassing versus the police arresting or it's releasing his car, the bare minimum. Yeah. And it's happening often.
1 second, let me interrupt before we go into it. The country this is happening to is Canada.
Yeah.
Before I continue, we want to talk about more things that are happening in Canada right now.
Yeah, just on the cars, because there are many more, but cars. So the police chief was on TV, and people were complaining that the cars being stolen, and usually it's by home invasion. So thieves will go into their home with a gunpoint, will take the keys from the homeowner, and then will go. And he told them the way to mitigate it, it's leave the keys on the floor so they can just take the car versus go inside your house and steal it. Right?
That the solution to the problem is make it easier for the thief.
Yeah. There are lots of things happening in Canada right now. As you know, the political arena is shaking. And there is a chance that there will be elections. Right now we have a very liberal government, but I want to say something about that. I used to be center, so I'm not really right, not really left. I was in the middle like most people. Somehow the entire political arena in the States and also in Canada changed, that my center is now right. So my views never changed. Let me live, I will let you live, let me work, make some money, contribute to society a little bit, like any other person. But now the left became so pushy that people like me in the center have no more place in the left or in the center. I was pushed to the right.
No, you mentioned that, and beyond just political, because again, this channel was never meant to be anything, and it's not going to be a political channel.
Right.
But it's just important for us at least to talk about what's going on right now. Now, beyond that, politics aside, there are people, like you mentioned, home invasions to steal a car. There's more rapes and violent attacks on men and women in Canada than there have been, I don't know, maybe ever?
For sure. I'm here for 25 years, never seen anything even close to that.
Housing costs. Again, I'm sure everyone's heard the word housing cost so many times they forget what it means. People can't afford to live in a home. Not a house, not a beautiful big backyard with 12 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms.
Yeah, it's super basic. They found like places. Usually you will have, let's say, a house. The house was designed, let's say, for 5 people. So you will have the police station and hospitals and doctors and schools. Everything is based on how many people will live in a certain area. You have areas that multiple families are buying a single place and multiple people live in a room inside the house. So 5 bedroom would be for 25, 30 people. And that's because it's impossible to buy a house right now for most people anyway. And That's causing shortage of doctors, shortage in schools. You have schools with 45 kids in a classroom, which obviously it's a no-go. It's too much. There are many, many problems right now, but if you track it down, the problem is that too many immigrants are coming to the country. I'm also an immigrant, by the way, right? I'm not saying don't bring immigrants, but when I came here, I used to take tests, and the Canadian government wanted to see that I can contribute to the country. And I also signed documents that if for some reason I cannot contribute, I will need to pay my own medical expenses and so on. And that's the right thing to go.
Now, 1 second. We on this channel, we've talked about business quite a bit.
Yes.
We were planning on talking about this as a political issue, but why don't we talk about it as a business issue?
Sure. Let's buy Canada, something like that.
Yeah, that's something like that. So let's take what you just mentioned, this immigration.
So wait, so let's set the rules. So we are going to approach it as Canada is a company, and we want to see if we're going to invest in it, and my brain will work better if I can fine-tune to business.
I think that's a better idea.
Okay. I'm not a great politician.
So let's take immigration like you're growing the size of your company. You're getting more employees.
Employees versus positions.
Okay, so what's the difference between the size of the company 25 years ago, the size of Canada, and what it is now? What's the difference between bringing in an immigrant then and now?
So from what I know, and it's not much, I think they added over 1 million people last year when the entire country is about 40 million. They added less than 200,000 houses. So they added less than 200,000 houses when they brought over 1 million people. What do you think will happen to housing? Right? Inventory. No inventory. So it's going crazy.
Now, with that in mind, where's the issue found? Because Canada has an aging population, right? We're getting to a point
It's a worldwide problem.
But apart from that, worldwide problem or not, it's something that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, we'll get to a point that we have more retirees than we have workers.
It will. It's a question of time because people live longer, right?
Before.
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, how do you even address that? If we know that your employees in your company are eventually going to need their pension, and you need to fund their pension because they've worked for you for many years, and now
Are we still on housing?
we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about the whole political climate, no?
Whatever you tell me. So if it's about housing specifically, Canada has tons of space, right? It's the second largest country in the world. You have endless space and you can live in probably about most of it. So house is not supposed to be expensive. Also, houses are built from wood and we have endless wood. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, no, you're correct.
No, when I'm saying something, I see you smiling, so I'm not sure. Okay. So we have tons of wood, right? And all that's supposed to bring us to a point that houses will be inexpensive. But houses are super expensive.
No.
But wait, question for you. How can it be? We live in an area and our house is a regular house. We don't live in a mansion. It's a regular house. It's almost $2 million. In Texas, I can have a mansion for about $1 million. How can it be? Why?
I think it's what you said, no? Supply and demand.
But except that, so let's say that you create houses, you're building them. It's not expensive. You have the land. The land is inexpensive because you have lots of it. Materials are relatively inexpensive. So why? Why Trudeau, the Prime Minister, is doing a bad job in the housing sector?
Well, I think a lot of it is bureaucracy.
Fantastic.
A very big thing that I noticed, at least, and again, I'm not super involved. I've only recently even learned what politics was. I have friends that live in very like nice areas, suburbs, very nice areas like that. And apartment buildings want to be built in areas near it.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for a building that's 17 stories wide that could house over 1,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be a survey in the entire community where everyone has to agree. If no people don't agree, they can't build it. And then there's legal loopholes you have to go through, and you have to hop and hop and hop and hop. And eventually you go from having a 17-story building to having a few townhouses that house 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
At least to me, that seems like a very difficult challenge to expand.
So bureaucracy is in Canada, it's a huge part. Most of the money goes to nothing. So let's say that, do you know people that want to earn money by doing nothing?
Lots of people.
Lots of people, right? It's very common. Once you let someone earn money without working, which means he will be in some kind of a municipality or some kind of a local government, and they hold the keys to the kingdom. So they will say, in this area, in order for you to build, you need to have this and that billion things that in other countries it's not even happening. So you have, let's say, Niagara Falls in the States and Niagara Falls in Canada. The house on the Canadian side, which it's smaller, worse condition, will be 3 times more expensive.
Because it's on the Canadian side.
Just because of that. And the same is also our area. Our house is not a beautiful house. It's okay. It's a regular house and it's $2 million. It doesn't make any sense. The problem is the red tape, all the bureaucracy. It's taking all the money and it's just eating everything. That's the problem, because you have lots of leeches that are in the government, local and provincial and states, whatever, and they're eating all the money. This is the problem in Canada.
Why do you think that is?
You have people that you allow them to eat free meals.
When you say a free meal, who's eating a free meal? What is a free meal? In this context, what does it mean?
People in those positions. So you, for example, let's say in the elections, you elect someone because of something. It doesn't matter why. But you elected someone. This person will appoint different people to do things. And then it's going down. Eventually, most of the people that down the line will be put in different positions. It's all games. It's not, Eli, you're the best in, you already ran a company with 5,000 people. You know how to run people. You are going to be in charge of this area with 5,000 people. No, it's not working like that. It's Eli. I'm your buddy. Let's put you into this position. If you have something interesting going on, make sure that you know who put you in this position.
Okay, well, beyond that information, I want to look at things on the bright side, right?
In politics, you don't have much bright side, but sure, I will go with you.
Regardless, I think it's going to be healthy, at least in conversation, without talking about creating solutions, right? In the business, you plan things before you do it. When we talk, how do you get rid of bureaucracy? Should you get rid of it? Is a certain amount good, a certain amount bad?
There should be some, to the point that it's not hurting the process. If you remember in the company meetings, I'm always saying that you need to push the train. The train cannot stop. Push the train, push the train, push the train. And the train is the project. Whenever you have too much bureaucracies, the train is becoming slower to the point that it will just stop. So you can run a 40 kilometers marathon with 2 kilos on your back or 40 kilos on your back. It will change completely how much you can run and what will be your speed. Same thing is also with that. So let's say in Germany, to create, from what I remember, to create a mine, you have different studies that needs to take place. You can't just dig. You need to make sure you're not hurting the water, you're not hurting the environment. Obviously, you need to take action. And
Precautions, yeah.
of course. In Germany, it takes about 18 months. From what I remember, don't sue me if I'm making a small mistake. In Canada, it's 25 years.
It's a big jump.
It's a big jump. So what can you learn in 25 years that you couldn't learn in 18 months? You understand the problem? So there is, it's a joke, but I will say it. There is a mine with lithium, which right now it's the number one
In demand.
That's right, commodity, because you build batteries from it, and cars needs batteries. In Canada, we have tons of lithium. The lithium, obviously, it's not on the side of the road. So you need to pave a road to reach the place that you have the lithium. Many, many years ago, they wanted to mine lithium in Canada. They are still working on the permit for the road,
To get to the...
not even the mine, just to get to the mine. This is the problem. It's all big BS. There were, by the way, also about that, there were multiple projects for natural gas and different things that are more on the green side that were rejected or got delayed because of bureaucracy, right? When all the other places in the world are doing it. Obviously, we all want to go green, obviously, but until we can go all green, you still need to have some energy, otherwise the world will stop.
You can't stop the train.
Right.
So with that in mind, because again, not 100% sure, but from what I do know, Canada has some of the highest natural resource content in the world, where we have more water than anywhere else. We have an abundance of natural gas.
Lots of, yeah.
We have an insane amount of uranium. We have a lot of lithium. And I'm sure
Lots
many
of
more.
goodies. Yeah, lots of goodies.
But, and again, maybe I heard it in a conversation and it wasn't accurate, but from what I heard, we ship our natural gas to the States, where they
this gas, not gas, like a gasoline, oil. Yeah.
So we ship it over to the States, have them refine it.
Yep.
And then
selling it to us.
Then we buy it back.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
Someone is making money here. Of course, it's part of the game. Obviously, Canadians need jobs. Why don't you create those on the north side of the border and have more jobs to Canadians? But Canadians cannot do the same job as the Americans. It's exactly the same thing. But someone is making money on the way. There were multiple projects related to energy. There is, I forgot his name, is one of the guys from the Liberals. He was blocking, I forgot his name, he was blocking a project, a Canadian project to, not to mine, to create natural gas, okay? To create it as energy, anyway. While he was blocking it, he also had a company. His company invested in Brazil and the UAE billions of dollars for natural gas. The same time. And he said, we are not doing it on the Canadian side because it's not green. But dude, it's the same fucking planet.
So it's almost like he's betting against us.
Of course. So he's creating jobs in different places while he's drawing the Canadian side, right? It's all a game.
No, it's not cool.
Yeah, the current government, I don't want to say something negative about anyone. Trudeau is our prime minister. I'm sure he's trying to do the best he can. I don't want, most of the Canadians hate him. I think that someone that goes to any job, I'm sure in the morning when they wake up, they're trying to do the best they can. This is anyway what I want to believe. But the result is not good. The result is very poor.
Well, I think a good equivocation to that would be if you hire a CEO in your company and the company doesn't do well, especially for 10 years, it's not like you can blame it on a recession or you can blame it on a one-time event.
Yep.
Canada's been through a number of events in the last 10 years. Many of them, other countries profited tremendously.
Mm-hmm. Many.
So are you saying anything, again, you seem very interested in making it clear they're not trying to say anything negative about Trudeau, but would you say that we need another CEO?
Oh, absolutely. We are going to have elections very soon. We are going to elect Pierre, which is from the Conservatives. But funny enough, as I told you, I'm center. Everything he's saying is making sense to me. All his policies making sense.
I hear that a lot from people, and I think based on what I hear from him, he's not really extreme.
No, it's all common sense. Stop bringing unqualified people to Canada. Makes sense. Bring people in the level of your housing, so it won't exceed. And then you, for example, there is no chance for you to buy a house. So people like you, the young generation, what they do, they cross the border, they go to the States or other countries. How many people do you know that left Canada in the last few years? Many.
Dozens.
Yeah, good people. Friend of mine, multiple business owners, employing thousands of people, left Canada. They opened their factories in different places in the world. Why? Because it's not worth working in anymore. The government is creating it very difficult.
I heard something from Pierre Poilievre, the conservative leader, and he mentioned something, and it made me think. There are two types of people he spoke with during his election run. Mm-hmm. People who are well off, and he doesn't really feel bad for them. Mm-hmm. People that say that if he doesn't win, they're leaving the country for reasons like you mentioned before. Mm-hmm. And then the people that I thought about, and I really realized how impactful it was, people that they said they don't know what to do if he doesn't, because they're living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. They can't afford to leave the country, let alone a flight to another country.
Right.
So, regardless of where you stand here, the fact is that 80% of the Canadian population does not approve of Justin Trudeau.
Right. It's a big number. Also the other guy. So there is the only reason that Justin Trudeau is still in power is because Jagmeet Singh or something like that is a piece of shit. So he's the only one that I can say is a piece of shit. So he's playing the game that is for the working class, right? From the other side, he drives a Maserati. Has $100,000 Rolex. He's playing the game that is a simple person, but he's not. He's supposed to get in February, in a month and a half, he's supposed to get a pension of $2.5 million. This is the reason why he's still in the game. So he's waiting for February to come in, and then he will put non-confidence in the government. There will be elections because he don't give a fuck if everything stops. Because right at that point, he will have his trophy, his pension.
I haven't heard you speak about that, like that, about...
I'm really upset about it because for the last year and a half, Canada is going backwards in an insane way. People are really hurting. I'm okay. Me personally, I'm okay. I can live in different places. I'm okay. My pain is for people that, as you said, they cannot live, they cannot cope with those changes. And my heart is breaking for them. And Jagmeet Singh, this person, is the reason why the government is still in power, because he's with them, giving them his power, and he's creating lots of pain to people. You know, in Canada we have 41 million people, or 40 million people.
A little over, yeah.
2 million in food banks. 2 million.
It's a very big number.
It's a huge number. How can it be? You know, we never had anything like that. When I'm driving in Canada, I see camps. I see tent cities. Now, tent city in Florida is awesome, right? Tent city in Canada, when it's like minus million.
It's right now negative 25 outside.
We went for a walk of 1 hour. My legs froze, and I'm used to the cold.
And our dog couldn't even walk.
Right, we had to lift
carry
him.
Yeah.
Imagine people in a tent supposed to live like that because they can't live anywhere. And we have thousands of those camps across the country. It's so wrong.
I'm going to expand on that very quickly. Most people who are homeless, the idea is you're homeless because you're a drug user or because you're a degenerate.
Doing something wrong. Yeah.
Which is a percentage, but there's been many studies done. Most homeless people work full-time jobs.
It's sad, yeah.
And they go work, they work in their office, they work in their building, in their retail job, whatever it may be, and then they walk outside.
I will tell you something very sad as well. In the morning, early morning, I walk. It's still dark. I walk in the neighborhood. I see cars with people sleeping in it. They're not from our neighborhood. It's people that they live in their cars and they just parked somewhere. And you see in the back of the car all their stuff. You see that they live there. And most of those people, they work full-time, 1 or 2 jobs. They just can't make a living. And Pierre was saying something interesting. He said that there used to be some kind of an agreement, unwritten agreement between the government and the people. You're supposed to work, you're supposed to contribute to the country, and in return you will be able to have a place to live. You will have the necessities to survive and even maybe flourish. But that was broken. We don't have this anymore. You see people working very hard, 2 or 3 jobs, and they can't even rent in a basic place.
I want to take that and just think about that for a second, because it reminded me of something that Jim Rohn once said. And for anyone who doesn't know, this is Jim Rohn's #1 fanboy. So anything he says, Jim Rohn has said he's aware of. I'm more saying this because I think it's a good story than because I'm trying to teach him. Jim Rohn once said a story of a man who was very charitable. So he, every day or every month, he went out and he gave checks to people to help them.
No, it was someone that works for the government. But that's like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when they still gave checks by hand.
I see. And the way this story went was, he went to this man, and again, a person on disability, so they can't do too much.
Not disability. The person was, he couldn't work, but not because of disability. He was just unemployed, right?
I see. And this individual, his home was a little messy, his garden was unkept, living in not great condition. So he came by, gave him a check, and said, next month, for me to give you this check, I need you to go clean mow your front lawn, so your grass looks good. Next month come by, he gives him the check. This time I want you to clean your garden. So now make everything is well set. And time went on, and eventually this person's home went from looking like a hoarder's mess to looking clean, and eventually he worked for this money. Now, what's very common is, and the reason I'm mentioning it, is the government, instead of taking care of the people that are working very hard, they're giving to people, I'm not saying the people who are taking money from the government.
Some people.
Some. We saw a lot during COVID, people taking advantage of the government's generosity, but basically people taking advantage of social programs. Instead of trying to get back on your feet, they just kind of sit back.
But that's also part of the way that Trudeau functions as a prime minister. Is creating programs so people will be reliant on the government so they can vote for him. But on the way is creating deficits that are unheard of. So he created more deficit in the Canadian economy than all the prime ministers in the history combined.
Is that accounting for inflation?
Of course, look at the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. We used to be seen sometimes like par, same $1 Canadian, $1 US. Now it's almost 42% less. It's insane, right? Everything that we bring from the States, which is half of the things, it's 42% more.
Oh, it's an unbelievable change.
Yeah.
The question though is this a matter of politics, a matter of government, or a matter of culture? Because the government can't choose what people choose to do, right?
Question for you. You're the board of a company. The company has 40 million employees.
It's a lot of people.
Big boy. You're supposed to find yourself a CEO. There are lots of candidates. One of them is a drama school teacher. I'm not joking. One of them is a drama school teacher that looks good. Like
handsome, pretty boy.
Handsome, yeah, nice boy. Would you choose him to manage your 40 million people?
Does he have any other qualifications in being a drama school teacher?
His father used to be the prime minister before him.
So he probably has some education, I'm sure.
Some?
Do I know any other candidates?
There are many candidates. Very qualified candidates.
I'd probably choose someone else. Probably.
That's the problem. You have someone, and I'm not trying to discount a drama school teacher. They can be fantastic at what they do. I'm not sure. Me as a small company, I manage, in one company, 35 people. If you will tell me that this person is supposed to manage my marketing department of 6 people, probably I will find someone else. Someone with management skills. Someone with skills that can benefit the company. He's just off. He's not supposed to be there.
But the real question is, I think, again, I'm saying this just as someone who views it, right? Mm-hmm. We don't live in the States, but we saw in 2016 Donald Trump go into the elections, right, against Hillary Clinton. And people thought that it would be like a landslide because Hillary Clinton has been in politics for decades, while Donald Trump was a real estate guy, actor, and it basically ended up going to him.
I don't want to jump into Donald Trump versus the world because there are other things that are involved as well, and it's very controversial. I prefer to stay on our topic if possible.
No problem.
I just don't think that it's correlating. There were in different places in the world business people that try to jump into the political world and they got eaten alive. And it's because when you're coming from business, you see things in a very productive way of get shit done. Government, it's exactly the opposite. It's let's talk about it. If I would be in the political world, I would probably kill myself or kill others. I can't talk too much. This is what we're supposed to do. Let's talk about it right now in the meeting. We finish the meeting. Now there is execution. Who is doing what? There is a task list, there is a project, get it done. Project that's supposed to be $2 million cannot be 30 billion. Right? So they created Trudeau's government created an application during COVID. The applications, I know technology obviously. This is an application of about $300,000-$400,000, like that. It became 500 million or some stupid number like that. And then when they checked what's going on, you have a recruiting company that's hiring people that not even supposed to have access to the data of this application because it's all sensitive. And you see lots of shit inside. But someone made tons of money, hundreds of millions, when this thing's supposed to be a few 100,000. As a business, if I set an amount for a project, let's say $10,000 a month for advertisement, which will come up to $120,000 a year, there can't be even $1 above it. That's the amount. That's the budget. But they live in different world, different rules. They just do whatever they want, print more money, and eventually you pay for it.
So the question I was going for before was, if we've had many business owners go into the political world and, as you mentioned, got eaten alive, what makes someone qualified if not a business owner who's managed potentially thousands of people?
I would take it to why people being elected. So let's say that you are a businessman coming with great policies, that people will need to read your policies and to know the details. From, let's say, 40 million people, how many do you think will really sit and read your policies?
Really sit and read it? Less than 1%.
Right? So it's a very small number. You're already disqualified. But 1 second. What if you look like a movie star? You have a great smile, you know how to talk. What are the chances for you to win?
Probably a much higher percentage will look at you and
if I put a little bit of sense of humor into you and you to say the right thing in the right time, add few celebrities supporting you, right? So people choose candidates based on different things.
more emotion than...
You feel, right? In business, there is no feeling. You come to me into a quarterly review. I don't say, Eli, I like how you dress today. Your haircut, fantastic. I'm going to give you a raise. Doesn't work like that. Eli, let's see last quarter results. Eli, something is wrong, right?
But I think the difference comes in business, and this is one of the first lessons you taught me in management, was tracking. Mm-hmm. And not just tracking, leads, or tracking people. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you taught me was you need to qualify people based off a set of criteria, not feeling. I can't feel like you did a good job. I have to know why or why not you didn't. Mm-hmm. Now, as a government, we have many metrics that we use to measure a government, right? We have polls, we have the economy, we have crime rates. Mm-hmm. But consistently, people always seem to be complaining about those. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there really a way to have a system in place to properly track?
There is. It's called statistics. It's being released all the time. But no one is watching them. So let's say crime. So let's say I want to buy Canada right now. As we said in the beginning, but we went to a different direction. But let's say I want to buy Canada as a country. Canada is downtrending for 10 years almost. What's going on? What's the problem? And then you try to look if this company named Canada, if this company has a future. So you see crime going up. Now, The question is if Canadians are criminals or there is something else here. Because if Canadians are criminals, I'm not going to invest in this company.
No.
When you dig into just this one graph that goes up, you will see that Canadians are not criminals. They're still the same good people that they've been a decade ago. But you have a small amount of people that are not most of the time even Canadians, that are immigrants, that they contribute to the crime, and when they're getting arrested, they're being released because the policy, and it's what we were talking about, the policy right now is catch and release.
Catch and release being?
You're doing a crime, you will be out of jail before your victim leaves the hospital.
What is the policy exactly? Is it just you have to be out before the victim leaves the hospital?
You don't really keep people in custody for a long time. It's few hours and they're being released. There was now a big sting operation in BC, which is one of the provinces in Canada. 40 people, you can check online, 40 people got arrested 6,000 times in 1 year.
Same people.
Same people. 40 people, 6,000 times for violent offenses. 6,000 times.
Just so I understand, if, let's say, not even use a name, I don't want to even connect someone to it, a person commits a violent crime against another person.
Yes.
The police come...
Not only that, like stealing something, beating someone, drugs,
A crime.
Yeah.
Police come, they arrest him.
Yes.
They put him in jail.
Yes.
And then what? The police just take them out?
They take the details and release him. And then there would be a court date in the next bazillion years.
I think that's part of the issue because from what I did law for a year. The Canadian justice system is extremely bogged down. Because every single...
Of course.
Extremely.
40 people 6,000 times, those 6,000 times someone needs to do something with it, those cases overwhelm the system.
They need to be convicted of a crime.
And that's just in BC, one province. You have here home invasions all the time. All the time. People coming with guns, breaking your windows, breaking your doors, beating you up, stealing everything you have. This is happening every day around us.
So we're talking about buying Canada here, so let's just go on this trend.
Yes, so crime. Crime is trending, but I assume if I take it as a company, the company is failing because the rules in place are not good. So if I will change the catch and release, those few people that being arrested will stay in jail, there is a very good chance that the graph will change. Instead of going up, it will go down. This is one thing, right?
There's one of many, right?
There are many things that are totally broken. It's very sad, actually.
So we have to analyze it based off, is it a company issue or is it a management issue?
If it's a company issue, so let's say you have Blockbusters, which they were selling CDs or DVDs 20 years ago, that's a company issue. So that's a company that you cannot invest in because what they're selling no one wants. It's dead. And I want to see if Canada is a country that needs to be sold out. Like what Donald Trump said, that maybe Canada is so bad that it can be joined as one of the states to the United States, right?
The 51st state.
Yep.
I'm just...
And I agree with him because...
It's a joke.
But the company is doing very poorly. So there is a problem. So crime is going up. Probably we can do something about crime. People need to have multiple jobs to survive. That's absolutely something that can be changed. There are many programs that are taking millions and millions of dollars that's not supposed to be in place. For example, I'm getting, as all the Canadians, I'm getting some benefits that I'm not supposed to get. Some benefits, let's say, if you talk about dental care and different things, it should be reserved to people who needs it. I don't supposed to get GST credit. I'm making okay. I'm not rich, but I'm making okay. I'm not supposed to get those goodies. There is no way for me to reject it. And there is lots of money that goes to people that are not supposed to get it. So people that can't make it, absolutely. Try to do whatever you can. I would probably do it in a different way. Like you said, probably help them and push them to work, right? But in any case, people need to get some help, but not everybody needs to get some help. There need to be a criteria for it.
That's the thing, though, about using the company analogy in context to this country, because in this is one of the few situations where the client and the employee are one and the same. Mm-hmm. Because the population of the country, it's both the driving force of the company, but it's also they're the biggest customers of this company. It's reminds me of like Nvidia, mm-hmm. where Nvidia takes care of their employees. They give them stocks, and many of their employees are millionaires, mm-hmm. right? Just if they sell their stocks today, they can retire mm-hmm. the same moment.
Yep.
But many of them, they don't. They work because the culture in the company is to keep on growing, to keep on building. And it just reminded me of Canada because I don't feel like we have that. I don't think that people care. They're not patriotic. They don't care about the country because they don't feel like the country cares about them.
Look, as we said, many people left. And if the coming elections, the Liberals and the NDP will stay, many people will leave. Many people, and I know many people that are employers with lots of employees, and they're ready to throw the towel. And I don't know. I don't know what will happen, and I don't know, if what will be the future here. But obviously, the way that it's going now, it's very, very bad. I don't really know. The only thing that can be, it's changing the government. There is only one candidate that the policies. Okay, I don't care about him as a person. I don't know him as a person as well. Obviously, the policies make sense. It's about, let's say, crime, change, catch and release. No more catch and release. Makes sense to me. Is about fixing the deficit, that we won't be in so much debt. Canada spending more money on the debt than on healthcare. It's unbelievable. The numbers are insane. So he wants to fix that. In every aspect, he has some plans. And the plans making sense. And if someone will read them, which this 1% will actually put the time into reading it, you will see that it makes sense. People that will not be happy will be those leeches, the people that are about bureaucracy. They will not be happy with it, but I'm okay that they won't be happy with it because I don't like, people that are not contributing to the marketplace. They don't provide value. Go find yourself a new job or change and start to care about your fellow citizens.
Okay, so I think we talked about a lot here. I'm a little bit more depressed than what I wanted to be, but...
No, you don't need to be depressed. I do believe that government will change. The projects that Pierre is going to create will create insane amount of jobs. Investments that stopped coming to Canada because of Trudeau will come again to Canada because of those incentives. There is lots of positivity and good that is going to come. whenever he will be elected. And there is all the polls are showing that he is going to be the next prime minister in Canada, and it's going to do lots of good to people.
Okay, so we aren't a political channel. If anyone is interested in listening to more stuff related to this, let us know. But our next video is going to be back to the normal.
Yeah. No more politics. We need the business side.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.